Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, which is on fluffy robotic pets that appeared at CES this year. So this is the first thing we're going to look at. It's called Mirumi and it's by Yukai Engineering.
Yukai Engineering, heard that name before.
Yes, they brought us Amagami Ham Ham.
Oh, the nibbling plushies, yeah.
Yes, and also Kubo, Petit Kubo and full-size Kubo. So this moves when it detects an object or person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a distance sensor. So what would you say that probably is?
Is that like time of flight sensor? They're getting quite cheap now, those sensors where they send a pulse of light out and time its flight back.
Could be.
Could be, yeah.
Mm.
So it's got one sensor, and depending on if there's anything in front of it, it does what then?
It turns towards the object,
mm-hmm.
and then because it's shy, it turns away.
Right.
So what we're looking at here is Yukai Engineering's website, and they've actually got a short little movie of it, but there's also plenty of short videos on YouTube.
What would you say?
CES.
Yeah, that's right, from CES. What would you say Mirumi looks like then? It looks like
he nods as well.
Right.
So when he detects an object, he sort of turns, nods, and then he turns away because he's shy.
So it looks like a cross between a mothling and a koala bear.
Yeah, some people think it looks like a sloth.
Sloth, yeah.
And some people think it looks like a koala bear.
But it's not meant to be realistic. It's just meant to be cute.
Yes, it's like a sort of made-up critter.
And they're showing it attached to the handles of bags in the videos.
Yes.
Why would you want to do that?
To carry it around, I suppose.
That's a robot that's meant to be taken out with it then?
It must be. And when you move the bag, it reacts to that as well.
Ah.
So it must have like a gyro or something like that in it, yeah, because it reacts to the object being moved on the object that it's attached to as well.
Right. I like that little tagline they've got there. Designed to recreate people's joyful experience of noticing a human baby as she tries to interact with them. So that's an interesting... So it's a sort of robot plushie you own yourself. You strap it to your bag, you walk outside with it, and it's meant to make other people happy.
Yes. And it gives the illusion of looking at you, gazing at you, because it turns towards the object it's detected.
Mm-hmm. And the eyes are not really realistic. They're almost like something out of a Christmas cracker, but they're good enough as like placeholders for eyes, so you know the thing's looking at you.
Yeah, but from the short videos I saw, it looked quite effective.
I think it's the movement, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and it seems to be gazing.
Yes.
So Yukai Engineering are going to have crowdfunding for this. It's not available yet. The crowdfunding won't be until autumn.
Right,
so a long way off.
So they've just used CES 2025 to make its debut before.
Yeah, so people who are aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be $70.
Yeah. And it's another one of these fluffy sort of animatronic robot stroke toys like Ropet.
Yes, we're going to look at that next.
There seems to be a trend of robots becoming fluffy now and soft rather than hard and plastic.
Yeah, because I think Mothling started it all off, didn't it?
Mm.
So that's a nice alternative to hard plastic desktop companion robots, which seem to dominate until this year, really.
Yeah. It looks like a sock puppet to me.
Sock puppet.
I sort of mean that's just occurred to me, that shape I've seen before, you know, where you put a sock on your hand and make a mouth with your fingers and you give it two eyes. It looks a bit like that. Reminds me of that. I mean that in a complimentary way, though.
It also says that if someone jiggles the bag it's attached to, the object it's attached to, it shakes its head sideways.
Indicating that it doesn't like
Please don't do that, yeah.
Right. So it's got movement sensor then, and it's got possibly time of flight sensor.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And I wondered also, though it doesn't, I can't find any information on this, but I would presume that it's got a touch sensor.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
You would think so, yeah. And it comes in different colours. So you've got this grey colour, there's a pink colour. I can't remember what the third colour was, but there was 3 different colours you could choose from as well.
Do you think people will take them outside attached to the bags and things like that? I'm not sure if people are that brave.
Maybe not in the UK.
Maybe not in the UK, yeah. It's maybe in other countries they would do it first, I think.
Japan.
It's an indication of, increasing acceptability, though, that
I think so,
they're making this thing to be taken out in public.
Yeah, I think so. And that's interesting because Abby was as well, wasn't it? It was meant to be,
but I don't think people do. I mean,
I've seen some people
have you?
With little phones taking it out, clipped to pockets and things.
We once to scout our eyebrow out in public, but it wasn't all. I wouldn't say. Some people were charmed and others were verging on hostile, I would say.
Yes. And it seemed to depend where you took him. So when we went to York and we're in the sort of Harry Potter street, then people were a lot more positive.
Yeah, they were more inclined to be in a holiday atmosphere mood. Yeah. Whereas if you're just walking through a station or something like that, people might... I don't know what it was, this hostility I picked up, but it's almost as though...
It's almost like the angry.
Yeah, you shouldn't be playing here, and maybe or something like that. Goodness knows what was going through the mind.
So, anyway, that is Mirumi, and I'll be interested in backing this one come autumn.
No price mentioned yet?
I did, I've already said $70.
Oh, sorry. Right, okay, $70, you think that's a fair price?
Well, they're not going to make many, are they? I mean,
I suppose not. No.
They can't get the price down to the sort of price that equivalent size toys are.
And will you be taking it out?
I don't know.
Around the supermarket where you get your shopping?
I don't know. So we're looking at Ropet now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Kickstarter page for Ropet. They've done very well. They've had 844 backers. And there's just 11 days to go now. So they've raised £184,500.
Quite a bit of interest there, yeah.
Yeah. So I've backed this, of course. And I'm not going to say much about it in this video because I did a full half-hour video where we had a long discussion about it.
Yeah.
And I'll link that in the description below if you would like to have more details about Ropet. But basically what it is it's like a little robot.
It's furry, fuzzy.
That's got but the furriness is actually a fuzzy cover.
Yeah.
And then the face is sort of got a flocked about it,
right?
But that's a face plate. I didn't realise that.
So those
at the time.
Are replaceable, but you can put different face plates on to customise it, maybe.
Yes, you can.
Right.
And I didn't realise that at first when I backed it. I do want to add a face plate and an extra face plate and an extra fur covering, so that I've got a bit more choice. So it's got a microphone, as you can see, it's got a camera. And similar to Abby, or Ivy, however you pronounce it, it goes onto a charger that has actually got some movement in it.
Yeah.
So it gets extra movement being put on the charger.
We're seeing more of this, aren't we, this year? I think there's at least another one robot at CES, which gains movement by being in something else, and it can come out of it.
Yeah, it's a good idea, isn't it?
Because if you make, I think you said this earlier on to me, if you make something fuzzy and furry, it's going to be very poor at moving around.
Yes.
But you can put it on something or in something that can move around quite well.
Yes, and then when you take it off, it's not all bulky for sitting on your lap.
Yeah, so you get the best of both worlds. You get mobility and then you get something to cuddle.
So it's got several touch sensors on it, and it says it's warm and soft to touch. Not sure where the warmth comes from. And here are all the different face plates for the different colours.
They're like emojis almost, aren't they?
It also has got some magnetic bits on its face, so you can actually attach things.
Right, to give it an expression.
Yeah.
Very playful.
Or you might want to put like a little bow on it or something like that. I like that idea as well. And I think that idea of using magnets in that way for accessories first seemed to come with the eye leaks, didn't it?
Yes, it did, yeah.
You can also change the eye colour by using the app, so it comes with an app as well.
Right, so you can make it match the coat
Yes.
colour, yeah.
And this is quite an interesting feature. They've used the camera to recognise different fruits.
Right.
So you can put and other foods. So you can put certain foods in front of it on a plate.
So
And it gets an image of them in its eyes.
So Ropet, obviously, it goes without saying then, because nearly all things are now AI connected.
Yes.
Right.
And they've also managed to get to recognise certain facial expressions, like a smile.
Right, so this is going to be good for emotional feedback then,
Yes.
to engage with you emotionally.
Yeah. I think it's a really potent thing to have it recognise a smile.
I wonder how good it is.
I wonder. So, obviously, this has been at CES as well, and it's had a lot of attention from people at CES. So, people do seem to find it quite endearing in real life. So, it's supposed to develop a different personality depending on how you interact with it.
Yeah.
I also remember reading that it's supposed to recognise its owner's voice. So I don't know how much this is going to carry through into reality. We will have to wait and see.
It
But
could.
we certainly thought it was worth trying out. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
backed it.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a sort of like an animatronic fairy fuzzy thing for the desktop, and these other things don't quite manage to show and express themselves to a human mind, and these just on paper.
They can certainly recognise foods, though, because they did a demonstration of that at CES.
Oh, right, okay.
Next, we're going to look at this little fella, Noono.
That looks like a Mouflin.
You think it's like... I think it's sort of a cross between a Mouflin and a Gucci guinea pig.
Yeah, it's
Goopy
like
guinea pig, I should say.
it's like a Mouflin with a head, isn't it? A clearly defined head with a nose, eyes, and ears.
So, out of the different critters that I'm covering in this video, this is the one that I've got the least information on.
Right, so you don't know if it's got the emotional intelligence of a Mouflin.
Well, I think it might claim to. We've got some more screenshots a bit later where they give some details on it. That big nose on it has LEDs in it, and it lights up in different colours according to its mood.
Now, I've got to say that doesn't appeal to me at all, because I think the critter should be expressing its mood through sounds and through mainly movement. So I would say that the movement and sounds are going to be limited.
Yes, I mean, it's something that you normally see on toys, that.
It is,
Using
yeah,
different
that's
colours
what I
to
thought
express
straight
a
away.
mood.
Yeah.
So they're calling it a Noono hamster, though it's really guinea pig size rather than hamster size. And I think it looks more like a guinea pig.
I think this is riding on the wave
Oh,
of
it's
success of Mouflin.
Definitely, there's some jumping on the bandwagon there. I mean, it says it's got artificial intelligence. Cupboo said that, but it doesn't come across to me like that.
No, unfortunately it slipped into the category of overuse now, AI, as people in CES had been saying. It's become a bit of a joke, really.
However, I got Cupboo, and I like it just as a product in itself.
Yeah.
And it was well made.
Exceptionally well made, yeah.
And it was a reasonable price.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
It could be an additional little thing, but
Ah.
yeah, they're definitely copying.
It's been shown here with the cradle, and that's
Yes.
very much like the Kutbu cradle.
And the Mothling, it's like a cross between the Kutbu cradle and the Mothling
So
cradle.
does it charge wirelessly then as well?
Must do.
We're seeing more of that this year, I think, aren't we? Wireless charging.
Yes, we are. I noticed in the little diagram that we saw earlier that it's got a temperature sensor. That's an odd thing to put in, isn't it?
Although in the past, many toys have made reference to sensors they have, and sometimes, whilst they might actually have them on board, they don't really use them at all or very well in the software.
When you think about the Pleo, it had a camera, but they never really made use of the camera, did they?
That's right. It reminds me of the old story of transistor radios back in the 60s and 70s. Each manufacturer would try to outdo the other manufacturer by claiming to have more transistors in them, and they did. And, one would have 5 and another would say, well, ours is based on 8 transistors, but those transistors didn't actually do anything. It was just something to sell it.
And then it says it's got auditory, vision and touch sensors. So auditory, microphone, vision, maybe IR, do you think?
Infrared, yeah. It's doubtful it would be a camera.
So that was Noono. And finally, we have Jennie by Tombot. Now, we first saw this about 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it's been in the pipeline a long time, hasn't it?
Yes, I think they found it very difficult to fund it and to develop it. So this video is from Tombot's own site, and this was the original prototype of Jennie. So the whole point of Jennie is to help people, as it says, cope with health adversities.
So this is a different category of robots.
Yeah, it's therapeutic.
It's a therapy robot, yeah.
And the guy who came up with the idea initially was thinking about people with Alzheimer's in particular. But he said he's had a lot of people voicing interest who wanted to help with things like anxiety and stress.
Yeah.
Or just companionship.
So different areas, really. Therapy, anxiety, companionship, different areas but overlapping.
Yeah, I would say they all come under the umbrella of therapy. So this is obviously a realistic puppy. It's rechargeable. It has an app now, and they've given it the ability to have software updates,
Right.
which is good.
Yeah.
And it's got touch sensors all over its body and can react in a very natural way.
Okay, so you say it's a Labrador puppy. Is it in the same form now at CES as it was on the site that we've just been looking at?
No, I have got a screenshot of the two puppies that they had at CES. They actually had them like next to the original prototype.
Yeah.
And they do look sort of not as realistic.
I thought I remember you saying they'd simplified it somehow from the original idea.
Yeah, the first one was sort of like more like an art doll, hyper realistic, but the most recent ones, that obviously that takes a lot of money to produce something like that, so they've simplified it in that sense. However, it was very lifelike and it had a lot of animatronic movement.
Right.
And it was particularly good the way the ears sort of moved and the way it cocked its head to the side and engaged with people.
Now, this must be quite robust because...
Here it is.
Yes.
That's what it looks like now.
Okay, I can see it's not as realistic. But as I was saying, it must be robust because it's meant as a therapy robot.
Yes.
So all this animatronic movement must be sort of protected from knocks
mustn't
and bangs.
Maybe in the way, I don't know, possibly in the way that toys are, because, toys are made to withstand a lot of rough treatments.
Clutches and springs in at the appropriate part in case things are bent backwards.
Yeah. But they are lovely looking things when you see them actually moving and responding to people, and the tail wags all the time. One thing I like about this second version, though it's not as realistic as the first, it looks more like a puppy.
Right.
I thought the original one, it was a bit odd because it was sort of like puppy sized, but I thought it looked more like an old dog in the face. You can see
Yeah.
another picture of it there. It doesn't look like a puppy.
No,
the
it looks
original one.
mature in years, doesn't it?
Yeah,
As you
yeah.
say, though, hyper realistic, that one.
So, yeah, they've obviously done it so that it's more realistic what they can produce for the price they want to produce it for. I know originally they were saying $400, but it's got to be well above that now. I mean, we're going back 7 years and they were probably underestimating. They haven't given a price yet, but I would have thought it'd be considerably above $400, wouldn't you?
Especially if it's aimed at institutions and
Yeah.
care homes and things like that,
Yeah.
who can afford more in general than the average person.
I'd really like one of these, though. I think they're lovely.
I'd like to get my hands on one and see one up close, yeah.
So that's all for fluffy robotic pets that I've found in videos and on the internet that appeared at CES.
Right.
So there are some more interesting robots that I've seen, but I'm going to leave those for a second video.